Right now at 10, live at day one of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. And Gunderson Health System expands with new hospital beds for behavioral health patients. Plus, Bangor School District votes to place an operational referendum on the November ballot.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 10.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for News 8 Now at 10. I'm Emily Brown. President Biden has just wrapped up night one of the Democratic National Convention with a strong endorsement of his former running mate, Kamala Harris. Ken Kazarowski joins us live in Chicago for more on the DNC's opening night. How's it going over there, Ken?
Well, excitement remains high as people are filing out here, Emily. Day one of this DNC was all about Democrats making the appeal that their party is the one that is for the people, and to ceremoniously pass the torch from the Joe Biden presidency to Kamala Harris's candidacy. And one of the people doing just that tonight in a surprise appearance, Kamala Harris herself. About a couple of hours ago, she came on stage at the United Center to thunderous applause, and almost immediately she applauded Joe Biden for his leadership as president and for his entire career in politics. She invited her supporters to declare as one voice that they are moving forward, and she brought her popular tagline now, "When we fight, we win." About 3 hours later, it was Biden giving the keynote address. He got 4.5 straight minutes of a standing ovation from the DNC crowd, signs of "We Love Joe" populating the entire floor. Biden giving a bit of a swan song address, going over his top accomplishments and his perspective from his presidency, and saying that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are most likely to advance the things that he's been working on in the last 4 years to carry America forward. And it ended up being
We've made incredible progress. We have more work to do.
Ended up being a stark contrast to how Republicans characterized it. Ron Johnson, the senator from Wisconsin, earlier today at the Trump Tower in Chicago, calling the switch to Kamala Harris a coup. We had some technical glitches with the soundbite, but I'm summarizing it for you there. Back in Chicago, though, Hillary Clinton took the stage tonight, using her speech to thank Biden, as well as for bringing decency back to the White House, and that despite losing in 2016, Democrats kept going so that Harris now has this opportunity. A lot of pro-union speakers at tonight's Night one dominated the earlier hours of the event. National polls showing a big lean, 20 points for union households favoring Kamala Harris. Lawmakers, as well as Harris's childhood friend, spoke to her middle-class upbringing because she's someone who can deliver for the middle class because she is from the middle class. And they also included recorded interviews with former Donald Trump supporters who voted for him in previous elections, who now say they're supporting Kamala Harris. They also ceremoniously confirmed Tim Walz as the VP nominee and passed the party platform that was actually written while Joe Biden was still the nominee. From Wisconsin Democrats we talked to today, to the people we saw in Kamala cowboy outfits, excitement has been high. One Monmouth poll says Harris over Biden as the candidate has essentially doubled enthusiasm among likely Democratic voters. Allison Ferget's been standing by my side throughout the day, and Allison, that enthusiasm in particular translates to young Democratic voters, especially in Wisconsin's delegation.
Oh, definitely, Ken. The voters that we spoke with today, they know how important their vote is in the Badger State. Now, Harris and Trump will both have to do a lot of work to get the young members of their base out and voting in Wisconsin, but the young Democrats we spoke with, they're doing all that they can to make sure that the state goes blue this November.
I can't even describe how excited I am.
Wisconsin's young Democrats are fired up to vote for Kamala Harris.
Young people are excited. They're thrilled to support a ticket that supports their values.
Harris and Walz self-describe as, quote, joyful warriors, and that optimistic energy is spreading to the party's youngest members.
It's just been constant. This is the most important election of your lifetime, and we're running off of fear. And for the first time, we're still nervous, but we're much more motivated by excitement.
They believe the switch at the top of the ticket has energized young people to get involved.
In the beginning, students weren't excited to vote. They didn't really care who was the president. And when Kamala announced and Tim Walz announced, I've seen people who weren't planning on voting at all who are so ready to vote for the ticket.
And those young voters could be the make or break in a state with razor-thin election margins.
Massachusetts-based Tufts University says Wisconsin's youth are the most likely to impact the presidential election outcome in their state.
The youth is very important. I mean, in this election and the next election, whatever election it may be, the youth will always be important.
The Young Dems here say the Harris-Walz ticket best represents the issues they care about the most.
One, there's climate change. We want to make sure that our planet is habitable as we grow into the workforce. There's a question of, affordability. Kamala Harris just released her economic plan, which makes college more affordable, housing more affordable, so that as we, grow up and enter the workforce again, we can afford those costs.
And they're hoping to use policy and positivity to continue building momentum for their candidates.
You can see by the masses of people who are taking to the streets, knocking on doors, talking to their neighbors, that there's something special that's happened in this election with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
So we'll just have to wait until November to really see how much that youth vote will impact both Democrats and Republicans in the Badger State. But it wasn't all positive vibes that we were seeing today. Earlier, there was a security breach about 2 blocks away at a park from pro-Palestinian protesters.
Yeah, just outside this main zone. CBS News Chicago told us this evening that it was a group that stayed behind after the main protest group had left the area. And after they moved a barrier, they allegedly started throwing drinks and signs at police. Officers did arrest 4 people and contained the scene fairly quickly. The Democratic National Convention Public Safety Joint Information Center released a statement tonight saying the inner security perimeter of this DNC was never breached. Now, the DNC is in Chicago, but top of mind still seems to be 90 miles to the north in Milwaukee, because that is where Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will be holding a rally at the Pfizer Forum, the site where Republicans had their convention just a month ago. It'll be Harris's 3rd trip to Wisconsin since Joe Biden stepped aside to essentially assume Harris as the leading candidate. Tuesday, here in Chicago, Barack Obama will be delivering the keynote speech here outside the United Center. On the west side of Chicago, Allison Fergott and Ken Kozarowski for News 8 Now. Emily, back to you in the studio.
All right. Thank you, Ken and Allison. Well, lovely evening we had tonight here. Perfect night for on the patio, and we did have a nice little treat in the sky, the supermoon tonight, Greg.
Yeah, it came out about 8:30, and it's still up there for about, I think it sets closer to about 2 or 3 in the morning. So if you got time, you can still see it out there rising. I think at 1:30, it's the highest it is above the horizon. But for today, we still had some haze out there from the forest fires out to the west. Not too much, but overall, that's kind of what we saw. A few clouds this afternoon. Overall, high temperatures not far from average, really a degree or 2 above or below depending on location. So pretty much kind of where we should be. Right now, big picture shows all the cloud covers really to the west. We're pretty much just a few clouds out there. Temperatures already falling into the 60s and then 50s in some of the colder spots like Black River Falls. Visibility will be an issue once again for the morning hours. Right now, 7 miles visibility in Black River Falls, and I think that will get worse. We might have a little fog in the La Crosse area. Otherwise, we'll see temperatures rise back into about 74 with a light east wind. Overall, similar story for Eau Claire, 55 degrees low, and we'll climb back up to 72. Similar type of temperatures we had today with an east-southeast wind. Right now, there's your temperatures overall. We're kind of breaking down the whole U.S. of where it's above or below, and you see the heat to the south. It'll kind of time out and break down if whether we'll see some of that heat and humidity come back anytime in the near future a bit later in the broadcast.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Greg. 4 teenagers are injured after a UTV crash in Viroqua Sunday afternoon. According to the Vernon County Sheriff's Office, a side-by-side UTV was headed east on the Upper Maple Dale Road when a 14-year-old driver tipped the UTV onto its side while making a right turn. All 4 passengers were taken to Vernon Memorial Healthcare and were released that day. No seatbelts or helmets were used, and the crash is still under investigation. Gunderson officials announced the addition of 4 inpatient mental health beds today. The addition brings their total to 34 beds in inpatient behavioral health. 4 beds will allow their team to serve an additional 200 patients experiencing mental health crisis per year. Recent closures of HSHS Sacred Heart Hospital and Prevea Behavioral Health Care Clinic have resulted in a drastic reduction of behavioral health beds in western Wisconsin. A 2024 Compass Now report identifies mental health care and health care access as the top 2 community needs in the Great Rivers region. The Bangor School District Board of Education has voted to place an operational referendum on the November ballot. If passed, the referendum would renew the current amount of $900,000 per year, which voters previously approved in 2021, starting during the 25-26 school year. According to a press release, losing the additional $900,000 per year would lead to larger class sizes, deferred maintenance, and loss of opportunities for students. In downtown La Crosse, a section of Cass Street is closing for a city project. According to a notification from the city, beginning tomorrow, the east and westbound lanes of Cass Street will be closed for the downtown tree project. The closures run from 7th Street to 3rd Street, and a finished date for the project is not listed on the city's notification, which adds a detour will not be posted. Legendary talk show host dies at 88. More on Phil Donahue right after the break.
The Labor Day sale is going on now at International Furniture. 40% off the retail price on all upholstery in stock and special orders. All in-stock pictures, rugs, lamps, and accessories, 50% off the retail price. International Furniture, I-90 Airport Exit 2, La Crosse.
Welcome to Washington, D.C. You got a bunch of loudmouth, preening politicians. It's absolute chaos. I'm Derek Van Orden, and after 26 years as a Navy SEAL, there's a few things that I learned. You stay on mission, you know what you're fighting for, and sometimes you gotta get a little dirty to finish the job. Let's go, kids. Not you. Not you. You. Let's go. I'm Derek Van Orden, and I approve this message.
Hello. It was 1990 when I first looked out of the TV and told you about high quality at lower prices. Hi, I'm Miles Wilkins, owner of the Board Store. Some things have changed. Products have gotten so much better. We've gone from 3 to almost 80 employees, and I'm just a little bit older. Some things haven't changed. We still offer high quality at lower prices. Call today for a prompt free estimate on your next home improvement from the Board Store.
The Labor Day sale is going on now at International Furniture. 40% off the retail price on all upholstery in stock and special orders. All in-stock pictures, rugs, lamps, and accessories, 50% off the retail price. International Furniture, I-90 Airport Exit 2, La Crosse.
Legendary talk show host Phil Donahue has died at the age of 88. His family says he died Sunday following a long illness. Donahue was surrounded by family, including his wife of 44 years, writer and activist Marlo Thomas. No further details about his cause of death were released. Donahue pioneered a new format for daytime television as the host of The Phil Donahue Show from 1967 to 1996. He was back in the spotlight in May when President Joe Biden awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Former New York Congressman George Santos pleaded guilty to wire fraud and identity theft Monday. It's part of a plea deal that will result in a restitution payment of $374,000. Santos admitted to charging donor credit cards without authorization and falsely stating the money would be used for TV ads. Santos also lied about relatives donating to his campaign. Congress expelled Santos in December of last year on ethics violations. Santos will be sentenced in February, and he could end up spending 7 years in prison. State of emergency. Torrential downpours unleashed a trail of deadly destruction in southwestern Connecticut.
We have a stretch of pleasant conditions through this week with very little rainfall likely, but we do have some changes coming up for the weekend, including some heat and humidity. We'll break it all down coming up on your first weather update after the break.
Here at the Y, we offer more than just a job. We offer the chance to make a difference in a fun, flexible environment where our mission and core values drive every decision we make. Join us in this amazing work. For specific positions and details, visit our website.
Our son Trent overcame kidney disease and beat cancer. But when he injured his leg, he took what he thought was a pain pill.
It was laced with fentanyl, and it killed him. He was 23.
We reached out to Tammy Baldwin, but all we got back was a form letter.
Obviously, she doesn't care about families like ours. Our kids are dying from fentanyl pouring across our border.
and we can't trust Tammy Baldwin to stop it.
Fix Washington PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At Taco John's, we believe a better Taco Tuesday starts with better tacos. That means using 100% North American beef, cooking shells in-house daily, and a deal that makes you say, how are these only $1.29? Taco Tuesday is every Tuesday at Taco John's.
The Make It Ford Summer Sales Event is on. So make it your best summer ever with Ford. Get your ideal combination of power and capability. And experience hands-free highway driving technology with Ford Blue Cruise, available on select vehicles. It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event, so make it yours. Make it now. Lease a new Ford Bronco Sport for $269 a month for 36 months, only at your local Northland Ford dealers.
The La Crosse Area Builders Association's Parade of Homes, August 22nd through the 25th, with 12 different projects, including new homes. Search LABA Parade of Homes for more information and tickets and discover your home's potential.
My son, Nick, took illicit fentanyl, which cost him his life. And knowing that my son is never coming back is the worst thing that I will have to live with for the rest of my life.
Tammy Baldwin's been with us every step of the way. She just got a major bill passed to really crack down on fentanyl. She doesn't just talk the talk, but she actually walks the walk.
I cannot tell you how much we appreciate Tammy Baldwin fighting this fight.
I'm Tammy Baldwin. I approve this message.
Here at the Y, we offer more than just a job. Experience the personal satisfaction that comes from nurturing the potential of youth and teens, improving our community's health and well-being, and providing support to our neighbors. Join us in this amazing work.
Is it time for new windows or doors? Contact the company who has done the research for you. The best windows and doors installed by the best people. Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions.
A massive cleanup is underway after flash floods swept through Connecticut and other parts of the Northeast on Sunday. Some areas got up to a foot of rain and at least 2 people were killed. CBS's Nikki Batiste reports from the flood zone.
In Connecticut, hours of nonstop torrential downpours unleashed a trail of deadly destruction, washing away roads and bridges, submerging cars. A flash flood stranded several drivers. This man, an amputee, and his dog were pulled to safety. And there was this precarious rescue involving 19 people trapped inside a restaurant.
We are talking about rainfall in some areas in the 1,000-year level. So it's really historic, unprecedented flooding.
Southwestern Connecticut receives about 4 inches of rain in all of August, but nearly a foot fell in this storm in just a matter of hours.
The water just came rushing over the walls like it just came out of nowhere.
Kimberly Hallepin has lived in the nearby town of Sandy Hook for 24 years. This was the view of her yard before the storm. And this is how it looked as floodwaters raged.
What were you feeling in that moment?
Panic. I just thought the front of my house was going to cave in.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I really thought we were going to get washed away, you know?
The storm also caused major damage in New Jersey and on New York's Long Island. Suffolk County especially hard hit. Back in Connecticut, there's now added misery for Kimberly Hallepin.
Do you have flood insurance?
No, I don't. And I just got the phone call from our insurance that said they're not going to help us with anything. We're screwed.
Connecticut's governor declared a state of emergency today, which he says he hopes will help bring federal resources here. One of the women who died had escaped her car and was clinging to a road sign as firefighters tried to rescue her, but the water was too strong and she was swept away. Nikki Batiste, CBS News, Sandy Hook, Connecticut.
Well, over here in our neck of the woods, no rain on the agenda. It's as dry as can be, and it's going to stay that way for a good while. For how long? Let's send it over to Greg and see.
Yeah, we definitely have dry conditions. This pattern is going to be dry, and it could extend through this next weekend into early next week, although there will be some temperature changes along the way. We still got the overnight fog once again possible. I think northeast Iowa would be one area to look for where it could be a little more dense. Pleasant temperatures through Thursday, even Friday, still kind of mild conditions, but we definitely got more clouds Thursday and Friday. That's really the difference. We're not expecting still any rain. There might be a system passing right to the north Thursday night into Friday. But overall, for tonight, as I mentioned, the fog potential is out there. Temperatures should fall back into the 50s, but some upper 40s are certainly possible. Right here is kind of showing where that fog potential is probably going to be the highest, but still other areas may see it overall, because this time of year we typically do. Looking at this visibilities right now, we're expecting it to expand a little off and on across many of the areas between probably about 5 to about 8 a.m. is typically the time frame, but then keep an eye on Northeast Iowa where we could get down to less than a mile at times, and that could linger across that area probably through 7 or 8. Meanwhile, the rest of the areas probably should start cleaning out, so just a couple hours of potential there for fog, and then we should be fine for the rest. Oop, let's go back there. We kind of skipped over. Temperatures should be about the mid-70s far south at noon, maybe upper 60s to the north. A light east wind, a little bit different direction than today out of the north. Those are high clouds that will begin to push across the area, so the sun will still be able to get through those. We'll have temperatures in the upper 70s, low 80s. Most of the locations a little cooler up to the north, still below average, but getting closer to where we should be. And all this precipitation, which is probably not reaching the ground out to the west, is not going to make its way. It's going to fall apart before it even gets here. We're just going to see cloud cover for tomorrow evening going into 11 p.m. Should be a little bit warmer going into probably Wednesday with some more clouds. This is the pattern with the ridge out to the west is sending the warm air all the way up to Canada. Then the jet comes back down to the southeast. That's where we're right on this section right now, and we're going to stay there, although we're going to see a little bit of change here and there. This heat dome is going to stay out to the west. Eventually by this weekend, we're going to start seeing the dip in the jet to the west coast, which has a pretty good system approaching there. That's going to pull and push this warm air eventually towards our area towards the weekend. So we are going to start heating up as we get to Saturday and especially into Sunday. Along with the heat, the humidity should start rising. Now, will this result in precipitation chances? Potentially, as we have another system that will come through early next week, but that's what we're going to have. So next weekend, if you want the heat and humidity, it's coming back, and that'll be your weekend here. But for tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures pretty much a little bit below average, upper 70s, mid 70s, depending on location. Maybe some morning fog. Temperatures to the south, mid 70s. We should be probably about upper 70s to low 80s in most locations for normal. As you see, temperatures up to the north, 75 Whitehall, 74 Alma Center, and then all the way up to Ladysmith areas. We're looking at the low 70s with cloud cover. Once again, could be some morning fog in some areas. And then going on, we see very quiet conditions with just more clouds Thursday and Friday. And then the heat and humidity return for the weekend into early next week, and too early to say about precip chances going into next week, but overall the whole 7 to 8 day period looks very dry.
Yeah.
Just a temperature change. If you want the heat and humidity, just wait, it's coming.
And good weather to open up your windows during the night.
Right now it is,
yeah,
definitely for the next 4 days.
All right, thank you, Greg. Coming up in sports, the Toma Timberwolves are coming off their best season in almost 10 years. Find out how practices are going as they get ready for their Week 1 matchup on Friday.
News 8 Now Sports is brought to you by Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, with 6 locations of fun.
Working with Maxwell White was amazing. They were professional, answered all of my questions.
I give Maxwell White my highest possible recommendation.
Maxwell White did a fabulous job on our shower. 5-star plumbing service done right.
She grew up in a middle-class home. She was the daughter of a working mom, and she worked at McDonald's while she got her degree. Kamala Harris knows what it's like to be middle class. It's why she's determined to lower healthcare costs and make housing more affordable. Donald Trump has no plan to help the middle class, just more tax cuts for billionaires. Being president is about who you fight for, and she's fighting for people like you.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
The Make It Ford Summer Sales Event is on. So make it your best summer ever with Ford. Get your ideal combination of power and capability. And experience hands-free highway driving technology with Ford Blue Cruise, available on select vehicles. It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event, so make it yours. Make it now. Lease a new Ford Bronco Sport for $269 a month for 36 months, only at your local Northland Ford dealers.
Everyone deserves the fastest, most reliable internet speeds, regardless of where they live. That's why Spectrum offers the fastest speeds in more neighborhoods than any other provider.
Switch to Spectrum Internet for only $49.99 a month. Call 1-833-376-4999.
With Spectrum Internet, you can power all of your devices to enjoy streaming, video chatting, and gaming. I rely on Spectrum Internet. You should too. Call now.
With a tankless system, you can have unlimited hot water whenever and for however long you need it. Upgrade to a tankless today and never be left without hot water again. Rely on Maxwell White, plumbing done right.
Covering all of the exciting action from your community, here's News 8 Now Sports.
High school volleyball is back. Teams in Wisconsin get their first week of practice started today, while our Minnesota teams are now into week number 2. The Mabel Canton Cougars were flying around the gym this morning, and the girls already have their eyes on a third straight trip to state. Lonnie Morgan is entering year 31 as the head coach of Mabel Canton. He has well over 800 wins, but has possibly never had as good of a team as he has this year. The Cougars are preseason ranked number 1 in Class 1A after returning everyone from last season's 4th place state finish. And this time around, the team only has one goal in mind.
We have very high expectations. We're hoping we can win state this year. It's a lot, but we are all very focused, and I think everybody on the team wants it. And if everyone wants it that bad, then I think we can accomplish it.
State championship. I mean, definitely conference, like one thing at a time. We're not gonna roll past everyone. We have some competition still, regular season for sure. But yeah, to get to state first, and I know we have a shot at the state championship.
It's the biggest goal you can have when you have players who are willing to learn and a coach who has 30 years of experience. The stars might be aligning in Mabel Canton.
So the easy thing would be to sit back and say, well, you know, keep everything the same. The same starters, the same rotation, the same everything. Well, I've never been one to do the easy thing, right? Because that's when you start doing the easy thing, you relax, you get complacent. Last year they realized we had to get better at serving, had to get better at serve receive, and our offense had to get a little bit more diverse.
Cougars will begin their season this weekend up in Duluth, and then they'll start their quest for a 27th straight conference title when they host Leroy Ostrander next Monday. Meanwhile, it's in Tomah, it's game week. The Timberwolves preparing for an opening matchup with the Richland Center Hornets on Friday at home. Last year, Tomah dropped their opening playoff game by 1 point against Baraboo, but prior to that, the T-Wolves ripped off 3 straight wins to end the regular season. A number of starters from last year's squad are gone, but that means more chances for new players to show what they've got. And you can't take a single rep off, especially on the practice field.
Intensity is definitely picking up, I feel like that guys are starting to realize that we do have games that we can't be slacking or just not caring as much. We have to really double down and execute and focus on what we're doing.
It makes it a lot more competitive. People are grinding for that spot because, right, it can be like, hey, you and so-and-so are battling between. So now we watch and practice where who's making the plays and who's not.
Joe Protz is in his 5th year leading Tomah, a program that hadn't won 5 games in a season since 2015 before the success in 2023. Now they'll look to keep the momentum going beginning on Friday. And it was an ugly showing for the Packers last night in preseason game number 2 against the Broncos. The offense looked out of sorts, only totaling 168 yards, and the defense had some struggles stopping Denver. Matt LaFleur says urgency was just not there.
It doesn't matter who's out there. If you don't put your best foot forward each and every time you go out on that field, these things happen to you. So, you know, we're going to have to regroup, take a long, hard look in the mirror, and we got to get better, and we need that urgency from everybody.
Does it for sports. More news after this.
At By Goffin Rohde, we know reputation is important, and it can affect your case's outcome. If you want your case to be taken seriously, you need lawyers who are taken seriously. By Goffin Rohde, serious injuries need serious lawyers.
Before she was the most liberal U.S. Senator, Kamala Harris was the liberal San Francisco prosecutor, the most progressive in all of California. She let an MS-13 gang member go, who then murdered a father and his 2 sons. She agreed to release another felon, who then committed murder. And Kamala even protected illegal alien drug dealers so they could escape deportation. Kamala Harris, a dangerous San Francisco liberal. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Your mom got a new tractor? Yep. Can she see in the dark? Can do. Hook up all the implements? Can do. Steer with ease? Can do. Bale hay all day? Can do. Shift like a race car? Can do. I'm out of here.
Visit any of your local Johnson Tractor dealerships in Menominee, Baldwin, Osseo, and Arcadia.
Improving your home, improving your life with new entry doors. Few things in your home get the constant use of the entry door. Older entry doors are often hard to open, hard to close, drafty, cold, ugly, insecure, or all of these things, a source of daily misery. Correctly installed entry doors provide a safety and security for your family. They are easy to operate, provide comfort, and say welcome to family and friends. Call or visit the Board Store for a prompt free estimate. Get more for less today and every day. The Board Store.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
There's a side of Eric Hovde you might not know. In his 20s, he was diagnosed with MS, and in that moment, his life and priorities changed. Eric started Hovde Homes. Hovde Homes rescue abandoned children from sex trafficking and slavery. For children who never experienced real love, Hovde Homes offer the love, care, and support they need to heal. MS changed Eric's life, and thousands of children are alive today because of it.
Is your personal injury lawyer trying to sell you a settlement that you don't think is fair? You need a lawyer who won't settle your case just to move on to the next one. Get the full compensation you deserve. Get Bygoff and Rohde.
You expect more, so thank you for watching News 8 Now.
Volunteers gathered at Northwoods International today to get the school garden ready for the new school year. The garden is maintained by GROW, an area nonprofit that partners with schools to connect youth with healthy food through hands-on garden-based experiences. In addition to harvesting produce, the volunteers also spent their morning weeding and watering plants. And if you'd like to help GROW prep the other partner gardens for the upcoming school year, there's information on how to do so on their website. We'll of course have that link on our digital platforms. Greg will have one final look at your forecast when we come back.
We know the fentanyl coming from Mexico and China is a threat here in Wisconsin.
It's why Tammy Baldwin is working to stop it.
And Tammy passed the bipartisan Fend Off Fentanyl Act
that takes on the Mexican cartels and the fentanyl coming from China.
And Tammy Baldwin voted 32 times to strengthen our border.
32 times to increase border patrols.
And technology to keep illegal drugs out. Because Senator Baldwin knows
keeping us safe is her first priority.
Tell Tammy Baldwin to keep securing our borders.
Where there's a flooded basement, musty crawl space, or wood rot, there's an answer. American Waterworks. For more than 30 years, American Waterworks has been solving homeowners' toughest waterproofing problems. Schedule your free inspection and estimate today.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world.
Hey, you're sober? You drive.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over.
The La Crosse Area Builders Association's Parade of Homes, August 22nd through the 25th, with 12 different projects, including new homes. Search LABA Parade of Homes for more information and tickets and discover your home's potential.
My cancer drugs, $1,800 per month.
My hospital bill for a heart attack, $241,544.18.
I'm Rebecca Cook. My parents are like a lot of folks hit hard by sky-high medical bills, and with hospital closures, access to care is an even greater challenge. So what does Derek Van Orden say? Destroy Badger Care, gut Medicare, deny women reproductive care. I'll fight for affordable health care. Derek Van Orden won't, and that's why I approve this message.
Go get him, honey.
All right, tomorrow we could have some morning fog out there for most areas. Otherwise, we'll have a little bit more clouds, especially in the afternoon, but just high clouds, so plenty of sun, pleasant temperatures similar to what we had today, maybe a degree or two difference. Wind turn around southeast. The pleasant conditions continue and quiet through Friday. But then the weekend, if you're looking finally for some heat and humidity, we got it coming for Saturday, Sunday, and potentially into Monday. which we should see some of that, and it is coming back. But enjoy the next 4 days.
We will. I like
really pleasant
it.
conditions.
You like what you see?
Yeah, I like it. I'm not really looking forward to the heat again.
Well, you know.
No. Okay, thank you for joining.